programming we follow.
Hola y bienvenidos a Deuces, wild motherfuckers! And Hunter, look, dude, I want you to know, this isn't a joke. Every single show that I do, every single one, at least the Daily Hustle, I pull these out and
hell yeah,
properly salute our boy. Now, our boy Kowalski, it was we used to co-host Daily Hustle with me. He was a bench coach for the Savannah Bananas. We would always do this thing. It was the yes.
Oh my God, dude. Bro, you just brought the juice right there. That's how you open every show?
And then I say, if you're juiceful, you're useful.
If you're
juiceless, you're fucking useless.
Yep. All right.
So
gotta have the juice. You brought the juice.
Bro, this goes back to you. Like, I mean, when I can think about it in obviously your days with the Giants, where did this come from?
All right. So actually, man, this is bad, but not bad, but I was just watching YouTube in an off season, right? And I'm a big like affirmations guy, big meditation guy, big dreamer. Like, it's just what I do. And in the off season, I was watching, at the time, it was Rich Homie Quan. And he had the song Some Type of Way, just a rap song. And Michigan State won the Rose Bowl. And they had Rich Homie Quan in their celebration. And he's doing this whole thing. And different football players are getting in the circle. And then at the end, this country lineman gets down there. And he ducks down and he does the yes. Yeah, and the whole team does it. And I'm like, dude, that is sick. Where is that? But it's from Daniel Bryan, the wrestler. He was the yes guy who actually showed up at the Super Bowl. He showed up at the World Series parade after we won with the yes movement and like brought the belt. We were the first team to ever do that. And now the WWE or whatever brings the belt to every championship celebration because it was the craziest good marketing for them. And it just kind of was just this weird thing where I saw the Rose Bowl celebration. I loved it. I thought I like fell in love with the song Rich Homie Quan. That year, there's a lot to it, Burnsy, but like that year, so our hitting coach Bam Bam had this thing where he put up a monthly competition. And we had this whole scoring system of like, you know, runs, points, and he made like captains. It was like Buster was a captain, Pablo was a captain, I was a captain, and we had this draft. And so you had like 4 or 5 guys on your team and you're competing against each other to try to like drive in more runs, steal extra bases. Like, so it was just like pushing us competitively. We all, you know, chipped in and like at the end of the month, you celebrated the winner and like we all, you know, and the losers had to do whatever. But everyone named their teams and we were the yes movement. And like every time one of our group hit a homer, we came through doing the yes. And then everyone started finally just joining us anyway. And then the fans caught on and then there was a wrap. So the yes movement was just from watching a celebration. Then I found out the originator was a great, amazing wrestler who I got to meet.
So if you're just joining us, obviously we're live here with Hunter Pence, 4-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champ. Hunter, real quick, we're actually presented by Bet Online. That's right, your top spot for all of your NBA action, NFL coverage, college football, the NHL, all in full swing. Bet Online is your number one source for wagering, news, odds, trends, and predictions. Get everything NBA at your fingertips with both desktop and mobile access for every sport. Head to Bet Online today to get in on all the action. Don't forget to use the promo code BLEAV, capital BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. Hunter, Thrill, and I screw around all the time, and basically we'd say, and it is true, it is basically gambling, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms that sponsor Deuces Wild. So,
okay, I mean,
it just fits the mold, man.
I mean, it's fun to bet on sports. You know, it's what my dad loves to do. I love tobacco. I love alcohol. I'm not a big firearms guy, but I'm not against them. I'm you know, but I love all that stuff. Whatever, you know.
Hey, so the other sponsor we have here tonight.
Oh, we have another sponsor.
Yeah, this right here. This is Dad Water. So Dad Water is basically, it's tequila infused water. And I know you guys were doing something. You're involved with a company very similar, but the name of the I'll give you a chance to plug this in a second. But the name of the 4 different drinks. So they have one it's 2 lime, 2 grapefruit, 2 blood orange, and 2 pineapple jalapeno. And it's the Tom, the Steve, the Rodney, and the Gary. And they're actually the dads of the founders.
That's pretty cool.
Who founded Dad Water. It's really cool. They have Dad Water and Mom Water. The Dad Water's got the tequila. The Mom Water's got the vodka.
All right. So, I do both.
Yeah, dude, what was that? I had an unbelievable drink that you handed me when you were up in Tahoe here a couple months ago.
The June Shines, my guy. The June Shines, yeah, they're great. Like they're hard kombucha or kombucha. I'm not sure how you pronounce it exactly, but it's healthier stuff. It's a good vibe. They're really pretty cool company as well. It's just a bunch of dudes that loved beer. Like the cool story of the founder. They did like this ambassador trip in Costa Rica, and they're just like super legendary. They're surfers, they're nature people. You would love them, Burnsy. And he was just like between classes, like riding his bike to beer tastings, like all the time, just love tasting. And he's like, hey, why don't we just start making our own stuff? And started like just working in the garage. And they started out of their garage and like, we can make some like healthy stuff and we can do it good for the environment and where you feel good and it tastes good. So that's kind of their story. And they've backed up a lot of my, movements of planting trees and picking up trash. They show up. And so now, yeah, I'm like, man, I can get behind this.
As an entrepreneur now, I think you have a soft spot and a sensitivity, an empathy, whatever you want to call it, to the story of everyone getting involved. And so the Mom Water actually started because the mom used to have like this, berry infused water that she would have. And then she would go to like a kid's game or sporting event or a play or something. And she put a little vodka into the water. And her kids then, without knowing, would pick up the water bottle and drink.
Get a little mom water on accident. Well, yeah, mom's water.
so then she labeled it. She would put mom on the water bottle so they knew not to touch the mom water.
That's genius. It's like Trout stuff. You remember, like it's probably like some electrolyte drink, and he just, because you don't want people drinking your drink, and it was just like Trout secret juice or whatever, and mom's water, man. It's beautiful.
That's it, dude. So, all right, let's go back to a second because, I have this kind of timeline progression, bro. Like really excited to. We've hung out before. I don't feel like I've gotten to interview before though, and it's
okay.
This is just. I mean, you've been honestly one of the most fascinating players that I ever watched play the game ever. The way you went about it. Your attitude, your work ethic, your hustle, your ability to say, fuck it. I don't care what other people think about me. There was an authenticity to your game, but maybe more than all of it was the pregame speeches, the postgame speeches, the grabbing the mic in front of 50,000 people at Pac Bell, AT&T, Oracle, whatever you want to call it. Where did that come from?
Man, you know what? It's hard to really say. Like, honestly, a lot of it is you can't just pick up the mic and like if you haven't earned it, like and say something, or if you don't mean it and you don't live it and breathe it. And it's kind of just like your whole life's work is put into it. Like if you step on the field every day, like a Marcus Simeon who's out there 162 or Freddie Freeman, and you've earned it and you've earned the stripes and like something really matters to you, and like your genuine. Like my genuine care, like when I took the field was like, I am all heart. I may not be the best player, but I am all heart. Like I want to be here. I love to be here. Like I am in love with the game. I don't want it to be over. I want to freaking earn it and like come and get it. And I'm going to get back up and I'm going to get back up. And so for me, all of that was just pouring into them from the pain of the loss. Like the one that started in Cincinnati was a collection of the elders, the Javi and the Scudero and Wilson and Affel and Buster. These guys were like, dude, if we don't say something, we're dead. And I was like, I will say anything because I felt that when we lost in 2011 in Philly. Man, that was the most talented team I was ever on in Philly. We could not believe we lost to the Cardinals. But it was like everyone was kind of stale. And everyone was like, I'm going to be the guy. I got this. And we were just kind of like, yeah, we were kind of doing – a similar thing with the Giants, and it was Javi Lopez who like noticed it. He's like, man, we're dead. We were 0-2 to the Reds. He was like, we're dead if we don't say something. And I was like, well, what do you want to say? What do you want to say? So just kind of pick up from everyone and then pour it into, a message that brings us together, that frees us. And like, obviously there's rah and all this, but like, instead of being like, hey, I'm going to be the guy, was like, hey, like, I want to play one more day. I'm not ready to go home. I love playing with you guys. Like, I'm going to give everything I have. Like, I will die on this field a happy person playing with you. And you're like, yeah, so what? Like, let's just play. Like, I do love to play. And it just kind of freed us from trying to be the guy to like being out there. It was cool. At least that's how I felt it.
When I watched that, I remember I was at MLB Network, and I have like hairs standing up on my arms right now. I grew up a diehard Giants fan, and as you know, when you play professional baseball, you sort of lose touch with your fandom, and you find yourself rooting for teams and players because of guys that you know. I can't say I had a strong connection really much at all. Rob Dean and Trina are real good friends of mine. And, at the time, Rob and I were doing a lot of triathlons together. So for his sake, and that was like my number one rooting interest for the Giants. But dude, I watched that speech, and then I think was it Buster Posey that hit the 3-run jack?
The grand slam off of Latos. Yeah.
That started my fandom again. And that was the first time since I had been done playing where all of a sudden, yeah, man, this mattered. And I actually felt like I was a 12-year-old kid again, rolling out the candlestick part with my pennant and, my Giants lid and starter jacket. And it was such a cool team to get behind. What was so special about that group?
Man, I appreciate you saying that. And, honestly, it was a bunch of just like it was just a bunch of dudes that went out there and wanted to earn it, didn't care about credit, it was like humble superstars. Like Buster was a superstar that was down to earth. He wasn't like, oh, it was just like, and we had these like wild, eclectic personalities that were, Bumgarner was crazy. Like Pablo was crazy. Lincecum. There were the very, very free thinkers, totally different personalities that just bought into like literally, and I honestly, I want to tie in Boach. Like Boach has a way of encouraging and bringing people from different backgrounds, personality styles, and directing you into one purpose. And that was just balling out. Like our motto was like we're going to give everything we have to win today, right? Like that was like his mantra through the thing. It's 25 guys, one common goal, win today. But we really bought into it. Like everyone, like, it's not about me. It's not about me. It's about us. Like it's about like doing something that's greater than you. And it just lifted us all up.
How rare is that at the big league level?
So rare. It was like impossible what happened, what we got everyone to buy into. It was impossible. And it was just the right time, the right people, the right magic. And like Vogelsong, man. Like if you knew Vogelsong, dude, I don't know if you know this guy. Yeah. And like, this is the quietest dude that would like, I remember talking to him and everyone was talking about the Astros scandal with the trash can banging. And I don't want to harp on like this old thing, but I remember having a really cool, when it first came out, conversation. We went to dinner and he said, if I threw a changeup and heard a bang on the trash can, I would walk over to their dugout and say, if you fucking bang that trash can again, I'll beat your ass. And y'all would have had my back and I would have known it. And then it's over with. And it's like a lot of people were stealing signs back then, most likely. Like I doubt they were the only team. They just did it the best. They had like, I don't know, MIT people writing algorithms to give it to the players. But, the Red Sox had Apple Watches. Like who knows what was, because if there's a camera there, teams were probably doing stuff, So yeah. I think they got a worse rap than they should have. But like that was just kind of the team that had each other's back. Like there was a time where Bumgarner, every single start he had with the benches cleared, and we never got into a fight, and we'd razz him about it. And like, yeah, well, I won every time because I didn't back down. And it's just like it was a group of guys that just had each other's back and had fun. letting it all go. But Vogelsong was the hardest worker. He wouldn't talk for 2 days before he went out there. And it's just like a group of those guys that like you can't wait to just give your all for them because you know the work they put in. You like them.
That's a special group of individuals. I mean, you just name the guys. Like even I don't know any of these guys really, really well, but I do know all of them. And Ryan Vogelsong is one of my favorite. He's probably my favorite pitcher I ever competed against. And the guy would just compete. And his shit wasn't great. He was a relatively comfortable at bat, but you knew that motherfucker was not going to back down. The same sort of thing. Madison Bumgarner, I was able to see him when he first got to, I guess, spring training. I think I was one of his first at bats, maybe his first at bat ever in big league spring training. And you could tell from the get, like this kid had something special about him. Buster Posey, the same sort of way. Very rarely ever in my life have I met a superstar like that. Mike Trout, very similar, different vibes, but very similar when it comes to the humility. And so when you gel all of that together and you put someone like yourself that's got the balls to speak up, that matters. And I think that's ultimately what created that winning atmosphere. You know as well as I know, when you're going to deliver a message, it can't come from a pitcher. It can't even come from your ace pitcher. It's got to come from a dude that's posting up every single day. And I'm not saying the pitchers can't mention a thing or two, but it was just you were the perfect guy in the perfect spot in the way you delivered that message and the following messages and subsequent messages. It was insane to watch, dude.
Man, well, thank you. And like I said, I can't take all the credit because it was a bit of everyone, right? Like there was a lot of people that, that would buy in. And to be fair, like I probably gave speeches after that trying to build the same thing, and it just wasn't the right moment. And, I'm sure people got tired of hearing Hunter speak, and so, and that's part of it. Right. So, but I got to tell you, you brought up a story of a guy I didn't get to mention because this wasn't 2012, this was 2014. And I was just thinking about Bumgarner and Vogie and how Tim Hudson like changed the dynamic of our whole team. And I have to share this story because I feel like it's perfect here, and I think you're gonna love this. And it gives me chills to this day, and it's just the kind of people you roll around. So I remember this game specifically, and we're in like a thick of we're the Dodgers are catching us, or we're trying to catch the Dodgers, and it's getting towards the end of the All-Star break, and Tim Hudson's first year, and he's throwing an All-Star year. He made the All-Star team that year. He's just absolutely filthy. He got a low 2 ERA. And it's like the fifth inning, and he gives up like an infield single, like maybe a stolen base, a dribbler, and the guy scores a run, and it's like 1-0. We haven't scored for him, right? And there's a lot of times pitchers are like run support, and there's some that just like always get it, some that don't, some that are it's a thing, right? Like you're trying to support these pitchers, and you're all trying to win. And I remember he came in, and like I ain't never seen this kind of rage. He fires his glove into the fucking wall, and he goes, fuck. And I was like, oh shit. Like he just gave up a run. It was the most bullshit run. We let him down. Like what? He's like, fuck boys, my bad. Pick me up. And we were like, what? You're bad. Like we were just like ready to fucking destroy everything. We were like, Honey's the fucking man. No way it's your bad. Like, and it just lifted us up, dude. It was just, and it just like sent also a ripple to every pitcher. Like, this is who we are. This is how Tim Hudson does it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the salt of the earth, one of the best pitchers, and gives up a run in a 1-0 ball game on some cheap stuff and takes ownership.
One of my favorite teammates I've ever had, probably. I mean, I could go a step further and probably say it was my favorite teammate that I ever had. He's this thing about him that he's a bulldog, right? And forget the fact that, long story short, he took a paycheck from me, but it was 3-card money. We were on a bender. I had made a lot of money gambling. It was the last trip of the year. We had outfitted everybody,
man. He could get into that card game, man.
Oh, dude,
he could weasel a little bit, a little smoke and mirrors.
He was absolutely freaking insane with the cards. Just so stoic every single time. He's got that vibe about him though, and kind of like you said, like we won. It was funny you mentioned like that, because when he was with the A's, for whatever reason, every time Huddy pitched, he was that guy. And every year you have that guy. He was that guy that we couldn't fucking score for. And so, like the way he handled it is just the same sort of thing where he came in and it wasn't like score runs, man, because you've seen those motherfuckers, man. And they're all it does is make, just like, dude, save it. But he
We're trying to, man. I trust me. I'm paid to score runs. Like,
yeah. So anyway, but it reminds me, just that group. A quick side story here, because we were actually at Family Feud together with David Justice. But in 2002, on that Moneyball team that won 20 consecutive games, we all went to dinner, and at the end, we played credit card roulette. There's 23 guys. The bill was, dude, $10,000, $15,000, like whatever. So they pull the card out. It goes to this guy. It goes to the next guy. And so the last two cards standing were mine and Mark Ellis's. I'm always a gambling man. I didn't mind it. It's kind of like, fuck it. If it's me, it's me. Oh, well. Mark Ellis was sweating bullets, man. He's from South Dakota. He was living paycheck to paycheck. He was driving some shit box, even though he was an all-star by then. He just really frugal, man. Great dude, but just was really concerned about the money. So I got more entertainment watching him. Sure enough, they pulled the last card out, Mark Ellis. So that meant the bill was on me. Whatever the bill was, 10 grand, boom, there you go. Here's an extra couple grand. Here's another, 2 more for the tip on top of that. And gone. I'm walking back to the hotel, messing around, bullshitting, whatever. And David Justice comes and tackles me from behind. And he's like, Bootsy! I'm like, what's up, DJ? He goes, yo, man, I've seen a lot of these. I ain't ever seen anybody take it as well as you did right there. He goes, that was fucking pimp, man. That was really badass. And then he goes, here you go. I'm like, what's this? He goes, the receipt. I said, for the dinner? He's like, yeah. Hands me the copy. It says void. He paid for it.
Hey, yeah,
that
picked you up.
Yeah, man. That's
just wanted to see you sweat.
If I had sweated though, if I had thrown a tantrum, if I'd been a bitch about it, there's 100% a zero chance that he would have picked it up. And he's like, look, and he didn't have to. Dude, he picked up so much shit all the time, whatever. And the fact that he saw me take it with that, hey, my treat, boys. I got this. No big deal. So it was just really cool. But that's what it takes. And my whole point of this is that's what it takes to have that winning team. You have 25 guys buying into the role. Nobody cares who gets the credit. It's just so hard to get that at the big league level. I'm going to transition back to somebody you mentioned before this, and that's Bruce Bochy, because here is the World Series winning manager again, his fourth now in his first year with Texas. Give me a little bit of a breakdown, because, dude, you finished your career. We went back to the Giants briefly, but in 2019, you were an all-star with the Rangers. So a lot of that group. And then, of course, Bruce Bochy comes in, and, that was your skipper in your 2 World Series.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot here to unpack, and yeah. I don't believe in coincidences, Burnsy, and this Boch has been to 5 World Series. He's won 4. He's done it with 3 different organizations. Like, this dude, it's not that's happening. He's a big part of it, and there's a lot of special things about when I got to play for Boch that was just an open your mind kind of perspective. And let me start with this one in particular. So the whole time I was in the big leagues, Burnsy, and by the way, I think I've told you this, but I want to say it here too. You inspired me a lot when I got to watch you play, how hard and crazy you ran and dove for everything. You and Erstad were 2 of my favorites to watch, because you were jumping into walls, you were playing the game hard. And I was like, that's how I play the game. I'm I am coming with my hair on fire to give it. And everyone's like, slow down. And I was just like, That's not me. I don't like, I'm too aggressive. I'm coming with it. And that's how I do it, and that's where I'm at my best. I'm looking to give my best. I'll slow down if I can. And I probably could have slowed down, but anyway, Boch was the first manager I ever had. And everyone everywhere was like, play it safe, keep the ball in front of you. Don't take too big a chance. Like, it's kind of this like, yeah, it's play it safe is kind of the way. And I remember the first speech like Boch ever gave us was like the second series I was at. We played 2 games against the Mets. I had just gotten there. We fly. I think we won 1 and lost 1. We fly to Colorado, and he has this whole presentation, and everyone's like kind of messing with me, like, "Hey man, you show up now. We have speeches. We're in trouble." Like those meetings. And a lot of those meetings, my whole life was like, "You happen suck. You need to play better." Like that was just kind of every speech I'd ever had from every coach was that you had no heart, you had no fire. We got to play better. Get your, like whatever. You can't hit, you can't throw, you can't play, well, how the hell are you going to win? Kind of thing. Yeah. So you just always got beat down. I was like, all right, Boch has like movie clips from Days of Thunder, and he takes us through this whole long story. And he's like, yeah, like this is the hot shot race car driver, and like, he's going through his journey and he's in this race and there's a crash in front of him and he like steps on the gas and he crashes and burns and he like almost could have died. And he shows how it like wrecks his confidence. He doesn't want to race. He's afraid to race. And so he's like, well, this is where he's at right now. And he brings it, to the clip and he gains the courage. He gets back out to race, but he's not really in first place or whatever. He's tentative. And then all of a sudden, obviously, I don't know if you've seen the movie or what, but I never even seen the movie, to be honest with you. The same situation happens again. And sure enough, dude, he's like steps on the gas. And this time that's like what you're supposed to do. And this time he makes it through. Right. So yeah, he's like, maybe he won the race. I don't even remember that. But his whole thing was like, look, I don't care if we fail from this point on, fucking step on the gas. Like, come with it. And we were like, fuck yeah, fuck you. We're and like every single meme to the media, everything was like really trying to put the pedal to the metal, like just stepping on the gas. And like, we're screaming that every hit. And like, we're just laughing and having fun, just playing with our hair on fire. And he's like, just, if you feel it, send it, like, I trust you to steal a base. You've earned it. Like, I trust you to die for that ball. You've earned it.
Dude, the entire mantra of let them play, which is our travel team that we now have like 7-8 teams, but it's free and fearless. And ultimately, I think all we could do as coaches is do everything in our power to put the players in a position to succeed. But when you have guys out there and playing scared, it doesn't work, man. And you're not going to get their best. You were somebody that obviously played with their hair on fire. You were somebody that also was really goofy in a lot of the shit that you did. Your on deck swing, some of the stuff in the outfield. But I would also take it a step further and say that sometimes the goofiness masked how great of a player that you actually were. I think you were better than anyone would give. No, just because if you looked at all the raw shit and the fact that you could hit a ball 500 feet, and when you were running well, you were running just about as fast as anybody in Major League Baseball. You're tracking shit down in the outfield. You're ripping backs. Like when you had all of your game together, you were a legit 5-tool guy, but it would get masked by a lot of the stuff. And it happened to me too, because we just did things unorthodox. What did you do through the course of your major league career, or just say minor league career or college career? We could go all the way back to high school in Arlington if we want to. But how did you stay true to who you are as a person and a player?
Yeah, man, dude, that's like such a deep question. And I have such a long story and I don't want to be that long-winded, but like, honestly, I didn't have an option because I was a little bit limited with Schumann's disease. Like I don't have a lot of flexibility in my T-spine. So when I actually signed my contract with the Giants, they did all these like tests and they x-ray everything and MRI everything. And they're like, well, Hunter, like, that's where we found out I had it. They're like, this is why you couldn't, because they measure all your like mobility. And they're like, you need to do all this T-spine stuff. And I was like, every time I did, I was like, yo, I can't play when you do this. Like I'm locking up. And so they're like, all right, well then don't do it. And the Astros were trying to like coach me up. And I was like, I can't throw over the top. And they were trying to get me to do it. And it was just hurting me. And they were like, you really shouldn't be able to play, Hunter, but you've been able to do it this far. So I guess you're fine. So we'll still sign you to the contract. So like, I think it was just like, when there's a will, there's a way. And I just had to like, but I might have lacked flexibility and whatever mobility, but like I had like I said, with the heart, like I was exceptionally strong and I had fast twitchy muscles. So like I don't think I knew mechanics of baseball. I was just like, I'm going to get as strong as I can, as fast as I can. I'm going to compete with the pitcher. I'm going to hit so that my hand-eye, we would like hit and play ping pong and like just work on like, I'm going to compete with my eyes. But I didn't understand any of the biomechanics until the year with the Rangers, when I went to the labs and I wasn't the physical specimen. I could barely lift weights. And my body had broken down from putting it through. You go hard now, but like I went through it crazy. So for me, it's a weird long journey, but I just think it was, if there's a will, there's a way. As far as like the mechanics and what I did, I don't think that like numbers wise, I was any great player. I just did every little thing kind of right. And I just like I played good defense, later in my career, and, I was strong and fast and competed. But I do think what I learned at the end of my career, if I knew that when I was the specimen I was younger, it would have been a different story.
So after the Giants, you decided that you were going to go to the Dominican to rebuild your swing. And I played 5 winters there. At this point, you had made millions and millions and millions of dollars. Obviously, you didn't have to be playing anymore. What made you decide to, number one, even keep playing at that point? And then if you were going to keep playing, what made you go down to the Dominican to go ahead and finish this thing off?
Yeah, like I had no idea if it was going to work, right? Like I knew that year I didn't play very much. Like I had like barely any at bats. So I was just like, borderline coach. But I was like, you know what? Like this new swing tech thing is out. Everyone's talking about it. I want to go learn it. My body was good. So I just went to one of the guys that, I researched that was doing really good. He had worked with Justin Turner, Doug Latta. And I was like, hey man, like what can we do? And I just showed up 7 days a week for an hour and 15 minutes. And he would just kind of teach me what he was doing, reprogram my body, get my muscles to work a different way, putting weights in a different way. And it would literally be like a lot of like front toss. And we work our way up, and we would do like kind of 15-minute sessions with like a camera right in front of you. And so you're just like, because to put feel with like what it looks like is really hard for me. Right. And he's like discussing all of this stuff. And then we'd always work off of like a really hard spin machine. So it'd be like a 90, 95 mile an hour slider, like never fastballs, like always spin, because he didn't trust the fastballs on the machine. And then we'd work on the machine, and you would find like that right tension. And then obviously an opportunity to go play in winter ball with many of my teammates are Dominican. They speak all the legends of it. Like, let's go experience it. Like, what do I got to lose? I don't know if the team was going to find me. I didn't know if I was going to figure it out. And Byrnesy, this. I did all of this stuff that it was like swinging at the ball a whole new way. So like my mind is kind of blown, right? And I'm stepping into a game, and it's like winter ball is not like, hey, this is spring training. It's like no. Like this is like major league playoffs immediately. And we were like, there was only 6 games left in the season. I didn't even know this about winter ball, and we were tied with 3 other teams for the last playoff spot. Yeah. So I get in at 3 a.m, and the next day I'm just showing up to stretch and like figure my way around. And like, we're gonna have you hit off of some of our like our younger kids, and if you go good, can you play today? And I was like, what? No, I was supposed to play tomorrow. And I just jumped in the game. But yeah, it was intense. It was one of the coolest experiences of my life. Like I absolutely loved it. And getting to learn that culture and where a lot of my teammates were from, and how much the Dominican loves baseball and their style of play, and how much thought goes into it. I have so many stories that are just so pure and beautiful, and it was so fun.
So we have a lot of people on here on the live stream. I don't know if you want to open the chat, but we got people firing away, whether it's RJ, LTP, or John Emmanuel Ramos Henderson from Makati City. We are international once again, motherfuckers. We got Coach Cheeks, Kari, Gary, all sorts of other people. if you guys want to ask a question, go ahead and fire away in the chat. That's fine. If you want to hit the knock button, maybe later before the end of the show, we'll let you on at the very end. Hunter, can you give me, I know it's really complicated, but can you give me a brief explanation of what your swing was before and after that offseason?
Okay, so one thing, and you know this, Byrnesy, is like I was taught so many different ways to hit, and there was no YouTube information age, Instagram when we were growing up, right? Everyone was like keeping secrets about hitting, and I was very curious, and I was wanting to ask everyone. And what you come to find out is, A, like physics is physics and master physics, but B, only you know how your body works. So like I was taught swing down on the ball. I was taught, really reach back, box it up, short to it, inside and out, like all of these things. And so, I really just like honestly, maybe sometimes I got there. Like you could even ask like Mike Trout. I asked him one time, "Hey, do you swing more with your top hand or your bottom hand?" He's, "Oh, bottom hand." And he thinks he swings down, but his bat path is like, it's like think Ferris wheel, not, what is the thing that goes around, the merry-go-round. Think Ferris wheel, and like you think like Giambi, you think like Clark, you think, like the Ferris wheel through the zone, it gives you length. And like that's kind of what I learned is like the shape of pitches, Byrnesy, right? Like you think of four seam, you think of sinker, slider, curveball. And so all these shapes, there's a bat path that matches them. Sure. And so what you're learning is to increase time, right? So like if your barrel is on plane with the direction the ball is coming in, so like a sinker and a slider, you need to really be a Ferris wheel, almost like a golfer. And that allows you a lot more window for your barrel to hit the ball correctly. You don't have to be as precise. Most of my career, I had this kind of a window to hit the ball correctly. Yeah. The rest was just strength and power. The rest was just, because that's what I did is like, you think of Abraham Lincoln. It's like, if I had 4 hours to chop a tree down, I'd spend the first 3 hours sharpening my axe. So then it's like less effort to cut it down versus just going out there with a dull axe and trying to chop for 4 hours. Right. So like I was hitting with a dull axe because I was just lifting as hard as I could and not leveraging my body. And so you just have to learn to create time by matching play. And Judge talks about this. It's the same as oldest time, short to and long through. Corey, man, Seager, Alvarez, these dudes, they're in the zone forever. They could be beat by it and they can hit both pitches because of that.
So I was really similar to you. And my bat would come into the zone down here, and then I'd be out of the zone. So I was in and then out. And so, bro, I killed sinker ballers and I killed lefties. So if you had a lefty slider coming down and into me, I was going to get you. You were a righty sinker baller, I was going to get you. But when you start riding shit through the zone, I had a tough time matching that plane. And I think one of the things that hurt me, I know one of the things that hurt me was the repetitive swing down to the ball, swing down to the ball, swing down to the ball. So when I was popping up those pitches, say up in the zone, or even sometimes even like a hanging slider that's left up, and I'm popping this shit up, all I kept telling myself after that was, I got to swing down. I got to swing down. Well, all I did was make the problem worse. Make sense?
Yeah, for 100%. But like, it more depends on like your bat path, right? Like, because like think about Altuve and how he hits the high one, because almost everything is high to him. And like you the four seam up and the high one, you actually, how I said Ferris wheel, you actually don't want to Ferris wheel the high one. Only like crazy good hitters can do that. You actually almost want to tomahawk and almost have your barrel above. Yes, that. And then how do you keep that in the zone versus just doing this, right? So you flatten on that high one and you finish almost like almost think of like your barrel being up, and you will laser missile the hell, because that ball goes a long way if you tomahawk it.
You're not kidding. And every now and again, I would. And dude, I evolved as a hitter. I mean, there were times where I was a great hitter in the minor leagues. I thought I was a really good hitter in the minor leagues. And then I got to the big leagues and I wasn't playing every day. And I'd get in there and I was trying to do too much. And it took a couple years to finally get that opportunity to play every day. And then when I did, I went on a nice little run. And, that's how I made a career out of this. But I tell all of our boys now, and I think this is just a really good explanation, where how can you keep the barrel in the bat for as long as possible? Well, what I say is A to B, where A would be the knob of the bat here. Now we're in launch position, whatever your launch position is, right? Whether you're leg kicking, whether you're toe tapping, whether you're pre-step, it doesn't matter. We got to get to the A position. The B position is this, where this knob of the bat fires directly to the ball, and now we're in the zone. And so you literally, if this bat's in here in the zone, I could get a base hit to right field. I get a base hit to center field. I get, now we're talking left center, bomb material, and then pull down the line. But it's just about being, like you said, short to it, long through it.
Let's like rewind the film in your mind's eye. And I'm sure you've experienced this, like, even when you don't know it, like you feel it, because it's all happening like so quick. So it's all creating a feel, right? So like, even all of this is happening really quick. Now, I'm sure you felt when like you connect with the ball, right? And like you hit it, and then it's almost like you continue to hit it. Like you aren't just hitting this first ball, you're hitting like 6 balls through it, right? And but it's not like you're creating it back here, because back here is nothing. Like, so one of the things that Luis Ortiz taught me was like this elbow. So like anytime like a slider fools you, and you do that, there's no way you're hitting anything. This elbow, the top hand has to be so tight to your body, and you'll find, like, think of Jim Thome. All right, let me talk Jim Thome for a second. Jim Thome would step out and he would hit backside homers. I'm like ripping my headphones out here talking hitting. Let me get this back on. But he would hit backside homers stepping open, and I didn't know how he did it. I just thought he was a freak. But what he was doing was he was keeping this in, and you have so much more power. You can miss hit it because you are like infinitely strong when this elbow stays tight to the body. It's just physics. And the further it gets away, so what Luis Ortiz would talk about is like ride the highway of the plate, the barrel, match the plane of the pitch, and ride the highway and stay as strong. So I wanted to go out and with my eyes hit those sliders away. Yeah. And all I would do with him is I would ride the highway and I would master that path to be through. And like, I wouldn't even think about anything other than my body matching how high is it? And then trusting that the path will hit it. And it will I hit homers that I thought I barely even touched. And I had like 19 homers at the break with the Rangers. I just got hurt and I was old and not strong.
So the term
I don't know why.
I love it. The term that we use now is stay connected. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're talking about.
Disconnected. We call it casting. You cannot cast.
Nope. You cannot cast. You've got to stay.
You might get connected. A single. I mean, if you're lucky.
So it's funny you said that, because you were now then hitting balls that you didn't think you could hit. Well, I remember one specifically. I was facing Adam Eaton from the Phillies, and he threw a 2-seam fastball down and in, and it was one of those like pretty tough pitch, and it was just boom. And I remember thinking like I barely swung, right? It was just this free, effortless sort of swing. And another term we use is 80 will get you 100. 80% swing, at least it feels like it, will actually be a 100% result, because loose muscles are quick muscles are fast muscles, fast muscles are powerful muscles, and so on.
Effortless.
But I hit this ball, and I thought I got it, but I wasn't positive. I'm like, kind of like, get up. And then it ends up in some guy's French fries and TGI Fridays at Arizona's ballpark. So it was 473 feet. And of all the balls that I hit, if you asked me if I thought that was going to be the furthest one, like no chance.
Your biggest one, like the greatest power among you, like it requires the gentlest touch. It's a gentle touch that the power comes from. And like, it's so, and you're nailing it. And it's hard to find, that right balance of tension. But when you feel it, and it's a beautiful thing, and it keeps us coming back.
Dude, it certainly does. Bro, so there was a time during that run with the Giants, and I don't know if it was 2012 or 2014, but you quoted Voltaire.
Yes.
Bro.
Dude, the mental side of things, I want you to bring this back up. It's funny you remember that. I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
I did 2 different tapes, and they're going to be these breakdown tapes, and I was going to reach out to someone at MLB Network today to see if I could get it and then send to you. And I'll do it anyway, but there was 2 of them. And one of them was surrounded by the Reverend. And I honestly could not, and I won't let you or anybody else tell me any different. I'm pretty damn convinced that I gave you the nickname the Reverend. Like there was,
you might have. I don't know who gave it to me.
So
Full Throttle is what Flan called me.
What's that?
Full Throttle is what Flan called me.
Okay,
but you might have given me the Reverend because you were on MLB at the time, right? Like I don't know who gave it to me.
Well, no, that was it, and so look more than anything, and it's funny because you're quoting Voltaire, and this isn't this. I don't think like you weren't fucking around, man. Like you were really serious about the mental side of baseball and the mental approach. As somebody who read the mental game of baseball when I was a young kid and I had it by my bed like the Bible, my entire career. I did hypnosis. I would try just about anything to try to get the mental edge. How important was it for you through the course of your career?
Man, so honestly, like I was lightly working on it all the way, kind of getting up, but it wasn't until I made it to the big leagues and like you're out of school for a while and like I was doing so much physical work that I was like, how can I continue to get better? Because I have no more physical energy to give. Like there's nothing. Like I want to get better, and I felt myself getting dumber. So I was like, let me just start studying the mind, and it just went from one book to another book, and then it became like this where I started learning that actually baseball was not really about competing against an opponent, which you are. Baseball was literally about how do I master myself? Mm-hmm. How do I be the best player I could be out there? And like the mind I found, because I reflect and I review and I look over, and if I reflect, and I was always tinkering and trying things. I love to like constantly be searching to get better. Like you got to get better. The years I did the best, Burnsy, was when I had consistent, persistent mental work more than the years I did the most physical work. Hands down, not even close. If I was super consistent, like you imagine, like I never would miss the weight room. Like my whole career, there was never a week that I fully took off until after I was done playing. But I would take off of the mental. I would read and I would do these things. But when I had like from before spring training, from after the season, and I was pissed off at maybe a bad year, and I was like, I put together a mental plan and I followed it. Those years were 100% the years I did the best. Like not even close.
When
I don't even remember what I said about Voltaire. I was going to ask you that. I remember saying it. Because I studied philosophy. Socrates was one of my favorites, like the dialogues of Plato. That one got me really fired up. I forget the Voltaire quote, though.
I went over a couple this morning on the Daily Hustle for fun, just to try to figure out. One of the ones I read this morning I thought was really cool was judge a man by his questions rather than his answers. And when I think about you, dude, every time, like there's questions, and there's you show genuine interest, and there's I really like that one. It says, let's see here, there's another one I read this morning. Those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. So, I mean, Voltaire's fucking deep. I got into Stoic philosophy.
I read some of that. I read Meditations.
Marcus Aurelius, fantastic. Yeah. So
Gladiator was like my favorite movie as a kid. So like I was all about Marcus Aurelius. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's just, I think more than anything, being able to learn from these people who lived before us. I was a history major, and that's what I loved about it so much, is that you get to learn by other people's successes and failures, both. And so, when you have the Marcus Aureliuses of the world, and, the humility that those guys, showed, Plato being another one of them, it's fascinating to me. But a lot of it, more than anything, is controlling what we can control, right? And letting go of the things that we can't. If I were to sum up philosophy, Ralph Waldo Emerson, I much different era and time, but I would say he's probably, of the modern day philosophers, my favorite one. I read Self-Reliance when I was a kid, and I just, loved the concept, an idea of always questioning things. And so then I bring it back to what Voltaire was saying, is that everything in life, there's nothing in life is constant. Everything's constantly changing. And so as soon as we stop learning, as soon as we stop growing, we're fucking dead, man. It's just, you know, and to have that open mind, you just always seemed like a guy that's had that. And so it's fascinating,
man. You're absolutely right though. And like I said, like for me, what was your mental practice when you played? Like,
no, dude, it really started with visualization when I was a kid and I read the inner game of tennis.
The mental game of baseball, right?
It started with the inner game of tennis. And I was a tennis player growing up. And so I read that. I was having trouble. I was throwing temper tantrums on the court. I was a fucking disaster, man. I was like John McEnroe. And then Max out there doing his shit. And I'm like, well, if he could do it, I could do it. And it was funny. But so my parents made me read the inner game of tennis. And then a lot of it went back to the visualization. And so visualization became a really big thing. And as I, got into college or got to the big leagues, whatever, I would always go out there and I'd visualize every single pitch that the guy would have. So it'd be a fastball away, see the ball out of the hand, fastball away, fastball for, say, a ball. And then the next one would be fastball away for a strike. I'm on it, stay connected, boom, double right center field. And then I would go over every one of his pitches, fastball, changeup, curveball, split, whatever. And so I implemented that. And then the other one I tried, I don't know if you've ever tried this, is the hypnosis. And I had a hypnotist make a tape for me where I gave her all the mantras where it's like, I'm getting, you're in the outfield, you're seeing the ball off the bat, you're getting the proper jump, you're staying loose and relaxed. I was really rigid in the outfield. You're running after the ball in the gap. You're staying on your toes. You feel light. You feel fast. Catching the ball is easy. You're on the bases. You're getting the proper lead. You're getting a great jump. You're watching the pitcher's front foot. You're seeing it lift up. You're getting an amazing jump. You're safe at second. Like all this stuff, and then obviously in the box. You're right. You're getting in the box. You're seeing the ball out of the pitcher's hand. You're looking. I was a hat to hand guy, so you're focusing on the hat. You're going from the hat to the hand. You're seeing the ball come out of the hand. You're laying off the curveball in the dirt. You're swinging at the hanger. Like, I mean, it was. I was using terminology like bang the hanger and you're hunting heater.
Dude, I want to get your hypnotherapist to make a tape. I would love to do that. So let me let you in on some of my thoughts. And like I love this. I love playing in the realm of mind. It's super fun for me. But you know how everyone's like, be in the moment, like that thought in general, right? I think that's too late, my friend. If you're in the moment, you're behind. Because you should have already been in the moment and you were doing it by visualizing. But I remember this in 2019 and I was super tapped in and locked in. And I just started writing down, like, how do I want to feel in the box? And you had already obviously done that if you're writing tapes of how you want to feel in the box. And I was like, when I walk up to the box, I'm radiating confidence. I'm completely connected to the barrel. My grip feels so good. I have plenty of time. I'm in perfect rhythm with the pitcher. I see the ball clearly. I see the ball good, and I meet the barrel. I know exactly where it's at, and I radiate confidence. The whole stadium feels me. They feel my confidence and my love for the game, and I play with passion, and I'm in love with the at-bat. I don't care about the result. I'm in love with the at-bat. I'm coming with it, and I'm enjoying the beautiful competition of the game that I love. And I would write that down and I would paint that picture and I would read it before I went to bed. And I would, so I would mentally tell and then review, like, how did I feel today? And how do I want to feel today? How do I want to feel tomorrow? And how do I want to be in the, like whatever it was that was bothering me? What's the opposite of that? How do I prefer to feel? And I would start whatever it was, I would start writing exactly how I wanted. I remember, Burnsy, I was always messed up with my grip. I didn't know how to grip the bat. I'd ask Barry. I'd ask Barry Bonds. I'd ask everyone, how do you grip the bat? How do you grip the bat? Trout, you swing with the bottom hand or the top hand? I would try both. I would try with bottom, top, both. So I just was, what happened, what I found out is when I would sit there and tell myself how I wanted to feel it, as if it were true now, and I would do it, and I would do it like away from the field, and then I'd go about my business. All of a sudden, what I was telling myself, I would say it in an unconscious moment, like, oh, snap, like the barrel, I feel so connected to the barrel. The first time I ever felt the bat good in my hands was when I told myself for weeks that the bat felt really good in my hands.
Dude. First of all, you gotta be ready to run through a fucking brick wall.
Once we get to the game, I've already been there. I've already dominated it. Yeah. I am ready, and I am radiating to the whole stadium. You feel my love for the game. I want you to feel that I'm playing all out, and I don't care what happens, because free and fearless, as my boy Byrnes, he says, come and get it. Come and get it. I don't care if we're 0-162 or 162. We said this in 2014 at spring training, and Crawford still makes fun of this. I said, I don't care if we're 0-162 or 162, if we're up 12, if we're down 20. Like, nobody goes harder than the 2014 San Francisco Giants. I don't care if we're playing the Flamingos. He brings that up because I said, I don't care if we're playing the Yankees. I don't care if we're playing anybody. Nobody goes harder than us. That was our thing. We didn't care. We were in love with going for it.
You guys loved the game, man. I mean, that was it. And yes, Rodolfo, that's fucking.
So that's what was probably so fun about watching us is we were trying to be in love with the game, like having fun playing. It's fun to watch people having fun, not trying to get a result. We actually get trapped, right, Byrnesy? When you need a result, you've lost your best self.
Okay. I want to be respectful of your time. So let me go back and I'll finish a couple things I want to get to. Number one, because when you're talking about hitting and you're talking about, short to it, staying connected, staying through the ball. And one of the things you mentioned, you said it's like hitting 6 balls. Well, you didn't hit 6, but you hit fucking 3, dude. Give me the breakdown from your perspective of the infamous base hit where the triple bat hit. I mean, I've never in my life seen anything like it. Still this day. That
was Joe Kelly, young Joe Kelly pitching, by the way. Ultra nasty 97 mile an hour sinker. And really, he just beat me. And it was just the first time they had that camera. And I had a really good bat. And I took a horrible swing. My swing was all tied up. I was not in a good place mechanically. But once again, I met the sinker and I was on playing with it. And so it felt like a lacrosse stick. Like this happened like this, right? Like this is a 97 mile an hour sinker, and I'm swinging as hard as I can. You watch it on slow motion, but it was the weirdest thing, dude. I have never, so like the whole time, if you hit a ball to the left, it's either going to go pure or it's going to hook. That's the only thing physically the ball could do if you hit it to the left. Center, once you hit center, right, it can go from the right side. It can either go straight or this way. I hit the ball to the left and it went right. The shortstop took a step to his right and the ball went to his left. And that's because I lacrossed it. And the bat broke but stayed together. It was such good. That was one of the hardest pieces of wood Louisville Slugger had ever made me. And that was the only time I ever used Louisville Slugger. But that was like that playoff baseball bat, man. They give you the really good wood for the playoffs. And it rolled up my bat. And so I inside out spun it. Somehow it was a miracle. I believe that was thought momentum because I was like, Timmy, believe in magic. Fill the stadium with, we're going to win today. We love this game. We're going to win today. Joe Day, our chef, every burger you cook is cooking for a World Series champion. We're eating World Series champion burgers. Janitor, you're sweeping a World Series champion. I was crazy, man. I was getting everyone to lit synergy. And the magic just happened. It was it just was the craziest hit of my life.
Oh, dude. So, first of all, have you ever been in the same room as Sean Casey?
No.
Oh my God.
I don't think so. Maybe I've met him once. I don't remember though.
I mean,
is it similar energy? Just like
similar energy, similar vibe. I just special human being. Let's get to now because you strike me. Let's throw a quick shout out to Stryker, figuring pun intended. Your nephew
strike you.
Yeah.
He got food poisoning, man. He had his poster everywhere. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, his poster was everywhere. I mean, dude, he's a 14U. He's the number 2 14U, I think, in the country, rated by Perfect Game. Just a fucking stud, throwing 89 miles per hour. Insane to think about. How has it been watching him develop it and go through this?
You remember meeting him at the Bananas game, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Dude, what a good kid, man. It's been amazing. Like, this kid knows more about baseball history than I do, Bernsey. Like, he loves it, eats it, breathes it. Like, plays MLB The Show. Like, he is crazy good at the game. And I don't know if you played that game, but it is like really similar to baseball. Obviously, the controller is not the same as hitting, but the eye, like, he has such a good eye, and that game is about your pitch decision. And this dude doesn't, like, he's similar to me with funky swing, but he can hit. Everyone thinks about him because his arm, because he throws so hard, but like he's put in the work though, man. He's like, his dad's been like, he's been training. Like his dad loves the game. This kid has just been eating, breathing, thinking baseball, and like my brother has to pull him back. So like he's just, it's really a magical thing to watch him kind of do it and doing his own way. And like he has big dreams. He's like, I don't know if you've ever read, I highly recommend it. Have you read the book Legacy about the All Blacks?
Yeah, so good.
So, you know, like that really famous rugby player was the greatest of all. Like, he was like, I want to be a New Zealand All Black. And his dad said, well, let's just be why just be an All Black? Be the greatest All Black. So he wrote GAB over his head, right? And he put it above his thing. So we did that with him when he was young, and he's been focusing and working on it. And it's just like, when you have a dream and you stay consistent and persistent with it, and you take one action at a time over a long time, that's where you get there. And hopefully, you know, he continues on that path and is able to stay healthy. But it's been really cool to see True, you know, the fact that he just loves the same thing, you know, that we love, and he's going for it.
So you seem to be a man of many interests. Obviously, you know, you're an incredible broadcaster. The fill-in stuff that you did, or whatever games you did with the Giants the past year, rave reviews. Every time I saw you on there, you were spot on, saying all the shit that I would say without swearing.
I try not to.
No, it was so good. I also, though, would say that you're somebody that has so much wealth of knowledge and experience to share that I would, you know, I'd just let me, you know, play around as your agent right here, like your agent for life. And this has nothing to do with money or anything else. Like, where is that best served? Because is it in the broadcast booth? Is it in a coaching / managerial role? When I went over the top candidates for the San Francisco Giants managerial job, I put you in the top 5. And that's with obviously zero coaching or managerial experience. But I just know how hard you would work and how serious you would take it and how all in you would be, that you would figure it out like that. If we're going to give a job to Stephen Vogt like that, and all due respect to Stephen Vogt, and I'm sure he's great and he's going to do a great job, but I would turn the keys over to you. I would turn the keys over to Buster Posey. You two, of all the recent formerly retired players, in my opinion, would be, you know, the best managers. Where are you now with your life? And, you know, what are your thoughts in, say, I don't know, the next couple years? I don't want to get too far out, but as far as what you plan on doing.
Bernsey, I by the way, that's very humbling, and thank you, because it means a lot coming from you, who I idolized, like watching as a kid, the way you played the game, how you did all your work at MLB Network. And honestly, like, you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, if I ever chose to manage somewhere, and Lexi knows this too, and I love my wife, and this is why I don't think I'm ready for that yet, is that because everyone's like, retired Hunter is so much more enjoyable to be around because he's relaxed. Like, when I'm playing baseball, when I was in it and you're in that cocoon, I was laser focused, and like I was every second of my thoughts, my mind, my mentality, my eating program. I may be wherever we are at whatever social event, but I am thinking about all of the preparations in the work. So like, if I was to manage, there would be no time for life. Like, cause like it's a heavy weight. So I want, you know, I love the Giants. I care about the Giants organization. So, you know, I want to do what I can to help out. And maybe one day when you get older and you slow down a little bit, there'll be a time for that, Bernsey, somewhere. But same with, I wouldn't want to just jump into a big league managerial position. Like, if I wanted to really dream and do that, I would want to practice so that I came and knew in my heart that I was ready to give you a good product. Trying to figure that out on the fly. Like, I look for win-wins in life, Bernsey. Like people say they're an entrepreneur or this, that, and like business is business, but like I don't look to like I never played baseball for business or anything. I look to like give my all and I look for win-wins. I want it to be where I give more than is asked for. I give a good product. I come with it. And so like I wouldn't feel like my integrity was at fault if I just jumped in. And do I know a lot about baseball? Yes. And I'm still curious, but do I know it? Managing is a whole different skill. Mm-hmm. I do think that I have a great skill, Bernsey. And I actually think that, we ask like, or for me, I like to ask like, what is my gift to give? And I honestly think it's the mental work that I've studied and what I've learned and uncovered from the pushing myself to the limits in baseball and what I unlocked in the mind and the psychology and how powerful it is to change your life. So like that is a gift that I want to share. And I'm looking like you're giving me an avenue right here to share what I think is one of my greatest gifts. And I give it unconditionally and I give it with love and I'm happy to give it. And I know that a lot of the things that I say are very powerful. Not everyone agrees with them and that's okay. That's what unconditional giving is like allow you to think what you want to think and take it freely.
From a broadcasting perspective, do you anticipate a certain number of games to do with the Giants next year? And is there any more work you've been doing with MLB Network? How do you anticipate that playing out over the course of the next season?
Yeah, I'm hoping to do more games with the Giants this year. Larry called me already and was really kind and so hopefully I'll be able to get a couple more games in and continue. For me, it feels really good, Bernsey, to be a part of something. Like be a part of the city, be a part of the organization. That means a lot to me, to try to help in any way I can. But also like broadcasting, like, you get to talk to the guys when you're there and you get to be the window of consciousness through which the fan base is watching the game and keep it light and keep it playful and remind everyone how fun it is. And also speak from the experience that we've had on the field. Both of us have had this great experience and share what that player may be going through. And when they are like, if you're lacking hustle and effort, that's the only thing I would ever criticize because the game is really hard and I struck out a lot and I failed a lot and I hated it. And I felt like I littled everyone down. It happens to all of us, right? Like it is hard and it doesn't mean So anyway, I'm hoping to do more games with the Giants. I love it. And I appreciate you saying that, man. It means a lot coming from you.
Well, dude, it's the truth. And I think, to be able to, and I always looked at this from the broadcasting perspective where I hoped that the knowledge and experience that I was able to share would resonate with the kids and would resonate with people at home that are watching, right? Does that make sense? So I just think that's big. I think, you can have a gigantic impact. I didn't realize the impact I had until I actually would get out of the fucking studio and I would have players, I would have coaches, I would have kids, I would have normal fans. And it's like, Bernsey, this and that. Like, even with Will and I in this show, we come on here he's in Louisiana, I'm in Lake Tahoe, we're bullshitting back and forth, but the authenticity of the game. And a lot of it's just telling stories and continuing to try to grow.
I love getting the clips of this show so much, dude. It's always you always hit the hot topic and you have like funny ass things to say about it. And it's always fun to hear what Will had to say. And also to relive some of Will's old moments, like the fight he had at second base. Oh man.
Epic.
Will and you is baseball gold, dude. Keep going. And it's awesome. And I'm honored that I get to be on the show. Hopefully I have no idea what's going to come of it, but it was fun to be on, man. And I love watching it as well.
Bro, thank you so much. Last thing, and then let you go here. If you had one piece of advice to give to a young baseball player, say our 12U let them play team, what would you tell the boys?
Look, control what you can control and never, consistency is king. Practice, and do not over practice it all in one day. You can't just water a plant and a garden is built in one day. You have to water it a little bit every day. Fucking water your garden every day. Do not miss. Consistency is king. If you can practice and master boring, you will master this game. But make the boring as exciting as you can make it.
Master boring. I love that. That is very philosophical. Hunter, dude, come back whenever, man. I would do this with you whenever you wanted to do it. We will blow this up. We will. We're going to push you.
Do more. We got to do more. You got to mix me in every now and then. Give Will a blow, and
Will hates you.
Will in here too.
Oh, what's that?
Get all three of us in here.
Oh, we'll do. Yeah, we definitely could. So whenever you want, man. This is just gold, dude. This is what I live for. This shit. This is why No Filter Network was created. It's not to come on here and just drop F-bombs and say crazy shit. Like it's to have real conversations with just being able to be ourselves, and then also just dive a little bit deeper, right? When we're outside of the structured confines of some fuckhead in my ear going, we gotta get a break, man. We gotta get a break.
Yeah, there's no break on No Filter. There's no filter.
we just keep rolling, man. So, dude, thank you so much, bro.
Thank you, everyone who's out there watching and chatting. I hope you enjoyed it. Not sure who's here, but I think I see the chat, dude. My tech skills are not there, but I saw a couple of the quotes down here. Yeah, dude. I'm not gonna because we're already over time. I'm not gonna let the knocker in. But basically, what happens is like, for example, we have Rodolfo who had knocked, but we can bring other people onto the screen and they can ask questions. So, that's sweet, man. So we'll have to do another show at some point, and we'll do that. Send Lexi my love. Yeah, we got a dinner to get to tonight. I'll send her some love. What's your wife's name? I met her so many Tara. Tara, yeah. She's always being super mom, and tell Biscuit I said hello as well. Oh, dude. He was fired up. I was going on with Hunter Pence. Hunter Pence. That was it. I mean, because he had a Hunter Pence bobblehead, and he couldn't say Hunter Pence, so he'd say Hunter Pence. Hey, beautiful. Beautiful. All right, bro. Enjoy the dinner, dude. A lot of love, man. See ya.